what a time to be alive.
Hey, what is that? Are we alive? What's going on here, man?
Some people I don't think want to be alive right now based on what I'm seeing on the message boards. Welcome in, everybody. It is the Georgia show here Sunday nights with the Dawgs HQ crew. I'm Jake Roos. He is Rusty Mansell. Rusty, look, I think we can call it what it is. Not the greatest day in the history of Georgia football today.
Been a while.
A real struggle. And I titled this segment Offensive in Oxford. And look, I know you and Jake Rowe did some instant reaction after the game. We've had some time to kind of mull over what we saw yesterday. I'm just going to kind of give you the floor. I have some thoughts, but I want to hear yours first. And I want you to start with this, Rusty. What can you give me three things? Give me the top three things that went wrong yesterday.
I mean, I listen. I think it was pretty evident that they didn't trust Carson Beck for probably first two quarters, and at some point, the risk reward for turnovers versus what he was doing last night just really, is late, and based off the past two games, I kind of understood, but at some point you got to turn it loose. I just don't know. The ability to run the football is shocking to me. You're going to struggle in pass pro. You can struggle here. Obviously we're going to talk about wide receivers and edge players and those types of things, but the inability to run the football to me has been really, really surprising. And what would I say the third? But that's a lot went wrong, man. A lot went wrong. They got their tail whooped, and it happens. It rarely happens to Georgia, but they got some humble pie last night, and we're going to find out what this team's about, because here's real quick on that. It was everything was on the line for Ole Miss. Their entire everything. That was the Super Bowl. Ole Miss has already lost two games. I mean, a third loss and they're done. And they responded, and they played their what's off. They whipped Georgia up front. They won that game. They out-coached Georgia. They out-physical Georgia. They out-hustled Georgia. Ole Miss played like their season was on the line.
Yeah.
Georgia, their season's on the line Saturday night. They're in the exact same boat. How would they respond? We're going to find out. But Ole Miss played Saturday night like everything, their entire world revolved around it, and they lived to fight another day.
Yeah. You mentioned, I want to touch on all of that, but to be honest with you, but you mentioned the running game. And to me, that's one of the real key things in all of this, Rusty. The inability to get that going and to support Carson Beck with that, I think has so severely limited this. And it's really a situation. And I'm not saying that this is not me excusing the staff by any suggestion. I just don't know how many staffs in America could overcome what's happened to Georgia in this backfield. Trevor Etienne is clearly not healthy. Roderick Robinson, you haven't seen him all year. Branson Robinson, shelved right now. Nate Frazier is a good player, but has his own flaws.
Can I stop right there for 1 second? And I'll let you finish. Nate Frazier is a hell of a running back.
Absolutely.
I love watching Nate Frazier. If you're excited about anything, be excited about Nate Frazier. What does Nate Frazier do? The one thing that keeps you off the field as a true freshman, he's turned the ball over. And that is so you have to know those guys are absolutely about to pull their hair out, because this guy is different. I love watching that kid run.
Yeah.
He's had fumbles in practice. They put him on the shelf. They had some injuries. They had to bring him back out. And he's had some fumbles, but he's got to get that figured out. He's going through it. It's just hard to play somebody with that. But Jay, they don't have a choice right now.
No, I know. I agree. I mean, he's Nate Frazier, like you said, is an exciting young guy, man.
Oh, dude.
This kid is going to be he's going to be tremendous. He's just not complete yet, man. He looks like a freshman at times, And this is a guy who has been called into service earlier than this staff would have probably wanted that to be the case. That you wanted him to be involved in this offense, I think, at some point. I don't think you wanted to lean on him as RB1 at this stage in his career. Cash Jones, I think, is to some degree a lesser talented version of Nate Frazier. He has his own flaws as well. He's playing hard. He's out there busting his ass, but the guy is not necessarily in a situation where he does everything well. He's not a complete back at this point. And really, George is kind of in a rock and a hard place with the two of them, because Frazier, to a large degree, when he's in, you almost know they're going to keep it on the ground. The numbers kind of bear that out. With Cash Jones, it's the opposite. When he's in, you almost know they're going to go to the air. So it's like a tell with which guy you've got in to some degree. And that's really tough to overcome. I've said on the board today, I'm surprised they haven't had to use Chauncey Bowens more, just out of sheer necessity.
God, I don't want to open this can of worms, but can we please get Dillon Bell 6 touches at running back? I know he wants to play running back. I know that that's all he wants to play, and I'm fine with that. Okay, that's
wide receiver.
Wide receiver. He wants to play wide receiver. So, like I get that, and as a coach, you have to say, okay, there were all the rumors about him leaving last year. Texas A&M was the team. He winds up staying, and, they had him at running back. But you're talking about a guy that looked natural at running back. You're talking about a guy that's 205 pounds. You can leave this guy at wide receiver, okay? Yeah. But you sit down with Dillon Bell and say, we need 5 to 7 carries out of you, and we'll do some packages with you. Because I'm telling you right now, when he gets into an NFL training camp, they're going to look at him like Deebo Samuel and say, Deebo Samuel runs the football and he catches routes. You're a gifted athlete, and I'm not saying he's probably dead set on it, but right now you're looking for Jake. The most explosive play they had yesterday was 29-yard catch to Cash Jones, who they got out of the backfield, and they got him 1-on-1 with their linebacker. Hell of a play designed, hell of a throw, little bit under throw. He had a guy stacked, but you got to find some ways to be able to find something. And Dillon Bell playing running back a little bit makes you a better football team. I would be very interested to see if that does not happen a little bit this week. I'm not saying you have to build a game plan around him, but let's put a package in where Dillon Bell's at running back for 5 to 6 carries a game, because he was pretty damn good last year at that.
You're not worse off giving Dillon Bell a chance to hold the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Stretch of the imagination, right? I think anytime you can get that in his hands, he's got a chance to make a play. He's going to do something good with the ball. He has shown that kind of time and time again. Rusty, just some things that absolutely jumped out to me, though, man, in this game. 4 receivers used all day. That was it. I mean, there's nobody there. They are talking bare bones. 18 guys on offense total, in the whole offense. The tight ends were basically tied for snaps. 33, 30, and 30, I think is what it was. I mean, they kept this thing bare bones. They were running skeleton crew out there.
Dude, they might have set the record for screens yesterday. And let me tell you why. Because they didn't think they could block them. You know what I mean? Why are we going to drop back if we can't? There was some zone plays there mixed in, but look, man, at some point too, and I said it today, you got to man up and tip your cap to Ole Miss. Because some of that tape's coming out, and there was some dudes getting mauled. You know what I mean? And the one where basically the entire offensive line just stands there, and then all 4 guys start surrounding back. Yeah. It's just there's just so much correctable things there. And I want to say this too, man. For people that are on Dawgs HQ, people are here, people don't listen to this week. I want to say this too. And Jake Rowe, if you follow this little monster, he digs in. And when Jake Rowe writes insider stuff, when he empties a notebook on our Fridays, when he makes board posts, he's on the board all day long. I mean, Jake Rowe is on our message board. You can get him at any time except from he goes to bed at 9 p.m. and he wakes up at 4. So right. Jake Rowe has got you covered except for third shift. But I'll tell you this, man. He kept telling me all week, Rusty, this offensive line is beat to you know what. And I was like, Jake, well, everybody's beat to you know what. Well, they're fighting through some things right now. And nobody won't feel sorry for Georgia, but I'm telling you right now, this is beat up as an offensive line has been in a long time. They got some kids that are playing right now that probably don't need to be, but they're doing what they think's best for Georgia and trying to help. Tate Ratledge he can't move right now. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to play in the entire free world right now for the Georgia Bulldogs more than Tate Ratledge. But he played 2 series yesterday, I think, or 3, and that was it. You know what I mean? He's not ready to go yet, and that's just it.
Ernest Green looks like he's got something.
Ernest Green has got something. There's zero. Ernest Green's got some things going on. And Micah Morris, who is the best run block. Micah Morris is the best run blocker on the team. Micah Morris is the strongest person on the team. He tried to go in warmups and couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So you got to find a way, man. They got to get past this game. This game is so big for 10 million reasons, but if they can get past this game and buy a little bit of time, you would think they can take care of a UMass team, because Georgia had a slow start against Clemson. Yes. The second half, they took that game over. Their offensive line took that game over. In the fourth quarter against Kentucky, they made some plays, took that game over, down double digits. Texas, the offensive line played really good and gave some time to do some things. They got to get those guys back to find any chance to make as far as run as this team can go. Starts this week, man. They got to find a way to get these guys in, get them healthy, get them going. Something tells me too, Roos, they're going to have a little bit of juice. I saw a stat today. I have no idea. Because I don't have the idea to get through the research on this. It's November the 10th, and Georgia's played 3 home games.
Yeah.
It's happened one time in the history of Georgia football. You know when that was? 2024. They've played 3 home games, man.
Yeah, I know. It seems insane.
That is stupid. So they're coming back, get some juice. This place is going to be bonkers this week. It's Tennessee. I mean, Sanford Stadium is going to be rocking.
And it's
stupid, ridiculous. It's for everything. It's for every. And here's the thing. Last night, and Roos, how long you been doing this? How long you been in the business?
10 years.
All right, so I'm 14, 15 now. Last night, for the past history, Georgia loses that game, and we're trying to figure out if they're going the Outback or the Gator Bowl. That's really what we're trying to figure out. Like, who are we going to send to the Gator Bowl? Well, guess what? They got another shot, and they get Tennessee at home to try to extend this thing, another week. So, man, it's Sammy's right. College game day is going to be there. All the eyes are going to be there. You come home.
I think it's right now, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the only top 25 matchup of the
week. Only 25 matchup. The entire country is going to be there. And don't let me poor pitiful you, man. This is a very good football team with some glaring holes at some positions. But this is 85 freaking pissed off dudes, and we'll see what they got this week. Got embarrassed last week. Does not happen often, but they've been really good in situations like this under Kirby Smart coming back after a loss.
Our guy Ricky Shirley over here said, "Enjoy Dawgs HQ. Go Dogs no matter what." Appreciate that, Ricky. Thank you, man.
Hey, it's been a fun place to be around today.
What Jake and I talked about earlier on the radio show was the idea that, or I brought this up. To me, it's been something different almost every week with this team, right? It was against Alabama. It was the defense is a sieve. You can't stop it.
Set the edge, baby.
Set the edge. Ryan Williams will dance all over you.
And that was true. That was true.
Then against Texas, you said the defense can save everybody, but can we overcome this offense? And then against Auburn or against Florida, you said Carson Beck is the source of all of our problems and will drag us down. And then in this game, the narrative I feel like that has emerged, and maybe it's an amalgamation of all 3 of those things, is it's the coaching. A lot of people are bucking at the notion of like, hey, we just got kind of out coached in this one. Your thoughts on that? As to where things
very Kirby Smart said in the press conference, when Kirby Smart said we got out coached tonight, and that those things happen. And what does that actually mean? Like, you hear that, like, what does that mean? Well, that means that team was ready for you. They were a step ahead of you, and they had some matchups they really liked, and they took advantage of those. You know what I mean? And those are the things you got to go back as a coach and say, okay, what happened here? This is what they saw. The Ole Miss didn't do anything they've never seen. I mean, right. Kirby Smart was on the same staff with Lane Kiffin. Georgia probably didn't do anything that Lane Kiffin had never seen. They just had better players last year. Ole Miss went out and got some guys, and it closed that gap. So it happens. I was going through the numbers tonight. Here's what's insanely crazy. Georgia's 5-2. Alabama 4-2. Ole Miss 4-2. LSU 3-2. Missouri 3-2. If Georgia beats Tennessee, they're 5-2. It's crazy. I don't even, the tiebreakers would be another whole podcast. You know what I mean? That's a long ways off from any type of Georgia worry unless they win this week. But that just shows you, look, credit to Ole Miss. They kicked Georgia's ass last night. But people were acting on Twitter today like they wanted some of the 85 Bears. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that. I can tell you they had a very good football game, but they're not unbeatable. And credit to them, man. Really good night. They came after it, and they finished that thing off. And they got a good football team. Well, so does Georgia.
And I don't know that. I mean, like looking around the landscape of it all, I don't know that there is an unbeatable football.
I don't think there's an alpha team this year. Now I'll say this, and I think
anybody. I mean,
I'll say this, and I think everybody in this fan base would agree. If Alabama plays like they did last night, if Jalen Milroe can play like he does, because you never know what you're going to get out of Jalen Milroe. If Jalen Milroe plays like he did last night, Alabama's going to be a tough out.
Yep.
Because that guy is he's the one that absolutely scares you to death because he can take a busted play and get 25 yards. Tennessee game, they had him drop back 50 times. That's not what happens. Vandy came up there. Hey, Vandy, they came up there thinking we just beat Georgia. This is poor little old Vandy. And a little old quarterback from New Mexico State made some plays on them, and they have beat. And just kind of shows you. But Oregon's going to be tough to beat. Oregon, Ohio State are going to play again at some point, and that's going to be a good rematch, in my opinion, in that game. But a lot left to play for. But this is for this team, this is not a program-defining moment. This is a 2024 moment for the Georgia Bulldogs. Remind you, Georgia's 53-4. Oh, by the way, I think. In the last 57 games. I think that's what it was. This is a 2024 season-defining game this week. What if they can win this game, and they still got a tough one against Georgia Tech? They should handle UMass, but as far as the SEC, Georgia finishes the SEC this week, which is crazy. LSU's only played 5 games. Georgia's going to finish up this week. So Missouri's only played 5 games. So there's a lot left on the table for some of these teams. But this is a 2024 season defining game right here in Sanford Stadium.
Yeah, and I think, depending on what Ole Miss does the rest of the season, it may be for their season. This last weekend may have been for their season. Certainly.
I think so. Yeah. And listen, Ole Miss is going to be. Listen, Ole Miss is going to be a tough team. They're going to be a tough team. But today, people were acting like Ole Miss is like they wanted some of Georgia 2022. They did. They don't. Big win from Ole Miss, but they're not world beaters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of the world beaters, look, you can't get better than the world beating deals.
I'm ready to see these prices. What we got here? What do we got?
If you think people are not excited about this weekend, you think people are tuned out to the Georgia, what Georgia's got going on. Let's take your get-in price this week is $319 to get into Sanford Stadium. With our friends over here at Game Time, and you're gonna be up in the nosebleeds on that one. So just be aware of that one. Now you can get down here into the lower bowl for the 400s. Got a little 500 over here. Look, with Game Time, you know this. You're gonna get the best price, and that's what you can find at GameTime.co. If you want to get in Sanford Stadium, there's probably not a better weekend to do it. I know the prices are high. But I will tell you this, you can save $20 with code ON3. That's ON3. Terms and conditions do apply, but get over there. You can use that code to get in. This is going to be an atmosphere that people are going to talk about for a long time.
70 degrees, 3% chance of rain. Those prices are going to go up.
It's going to be, and it's a 7:30 kickoff. Everybody's going to be out there hanging out with Jim Beam all day before the game. You know that people are going to be live for this one, man. You only get so many of those, so if you want to get in, the best way to do that is with our friends at GameTime.co. Like I said, you can use code ON3. That's ON3. You get all-in pricing. You get the view from your seat, which is such a cool feature. You can see kind of up here. Let's click on this one right here. You get a full look at the seat, which is awesome. You can kind of see what you're viewing from there. This is one to get in on. And if you're looking to do it, GameTime.co. The way to do it, code ON3. What time is it? It's game time. And want to give a special shout out as well while we're at it over here to our friends over at myperfectfranchise.net. That's Andy Ludicky and the boys over there. Wanted to get to them and say thank you so much for your support and tell you guys about them. Look, if you are looking for a way out, right, a new way for yourself, this is the way to do it. Are you a displaced corporate executive or wanting to put your career in your own hands? Maybe you're an experienced entrepreneur and want to diversify. Andy Ludicky and myperfectfranchise.net can help you do that. He's a huge college sports fan in general and a franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses over the years. With his expertise, he helps others find their American dream through a very thorough consultation and evaluation process. So call Andy, put your life and career in your own hands. Best of all, his services, 100% free to you. So what do you have to lose? Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net. Rusty, simple question here. Where does Georgia go from here? This is a big one. We've talked about all the implications for this weekend. How does Georgia handle this matchup? Because not a lot has been working for a few weeks at this point now.
Yeah.
How do you skin this cat?
I mean, just to be honest with you, it's been 8 quarters. They haven't played great. You know what I mean? That Florida game was a struggle. And then you go yesterday, so there is a little bit of a pattern here, which you're like a little bit worried about. I do think coming home, man, it's extra juice. I think that's just the way it's been. And can they find a way? 2 years in a row, Georgia has basically just stoned Tennessee offensively. They gave up a bust last year on the first play of the game. Dude went 80, if you remember that. Yeah. And then after that, they didn't give up anything. 2 years ago, Tennessee came in here, the #1 team in America, and they were fixing to have parades in Knoxville, and they got smacked in the face. So now Georgia, personnel-wise, I'm not sure they're going to match up as good, especially at defensive back. Tennessee's going to take some shots. I don't know if Nico's playing. He looked a little bit banged up. Josh Heupel said last night he'll be fine, but that'd be something you have to see. They're going to take shots on you. And the one thing I think that I would say, so positives, I would say they're coming home and they've done really well against Josh Heupel and that offensive scheme he brings. They've handled Tennessee 2 years in a row. The thing that would scare me is they're really similar to Mississippi State, Jeff Levy's offense. They're all from the same tree there. And the difficulties that Mississippi State gave you with a freshman quarterback throwing balls down the field and you not making plays on them is what would make me nervous in there. Now, the atmosphere will be crazy. That's going to help, with pace of the game and those types of things. So, that there's some positive there, but there's some legit concerns too. So, offensively, you got to piece together some stuff. I do think, the help of Trevor.
Stop James Pierce. You
know what's crazy about James Pierce is James Pierce pass rush scares you to absolute death. The problem kind of knock on James Pierce is he hasn't been great against the run. If you go back and watch Georgia, they ran right at him last year and they got into his, pass rush. This guy's a super freak. So you see the stuff from last night. You cannot get into a situation where you have to throw it 45 times, let this guy tee off on you, because they got some dudes now. But I would not be shocked to see them try to physically manhandle him a little bit and keep him, respecting the run, because they had some success running at him. Same way they did Harold Perkins in that SEC championship game. When Harold Perkins was turned loose against everybody else, this guy was a game wrecker. Georgia said, screw that. We're going to run right at you and see if you want some of these 320-pound linemen. So, James Pierce, another year later, is going to be stronger, bigger. We'll see what he does. But they've got a little game plan for him I've seen in the past. But pass rush, if they get to where Carson Beck has to throw this thing 45 times, that guy's going to be a very bad problem.
I agree. Mm-hmm. What's interesting to me is these teams feel somewhat similar to a degree. Like, it's not, you're not getting the offensive production out of Tennessee that you would have expected. You came into this year thinking, man, that's Heupel's calling card. He's one of the great offensive minds. And you're sitting here going, really, it's this Tennessee defense that's the game changer for them this season. Georgia has struggled with that. The defense has kept them in plenty of games as well. I'll tell you this, Rusty. I said it going into this past game, and I feel like they did a good job of neutralizing him. Jalen Walker needs to get home. He needs to get kind of uncorked in that way. And it was quiet from him and Michael Williams in Oxford. And to their credit, I mean, they were on the field a lot.
Yeah, they also play quick game. That's a great quarterback they've got.
Yeah.
And you realize that Jackson Dart didn't hurt Georgia with his legs much at all until the second half. Well, the second half, Georgia had to go man-to-man, and they tried to come at him a little bit, and he hurt him with his – Tennessee, the misconception on them, they want to run the football. They're going to spread you out as far as you can get, and they want a light box. They want to run the football. So those 6 guys on Georgia's 5 plus an extra guy, that's going to determine how well defensively they play again. Again, if I'm Josh Heupel, 2 years in a row, Georgia has done me like no other teams have. So how am I going? What am I going to expect from them? And they got a quarterback who knows. This will be Nico's first time in this. Would I be wrong saying this will be Nico's, if he plays, which I expect him to play, the biggest road game he's ever played in? Probably. He went to Arkansas, big game. They lost there. He's got to come to Athens, and this is going to be one of those. Sanford Stadium don't come unhinged too often. I'll just be honest with you. It's going to be loose in there Saturday night. That place is going to be rocking. So, that's going to be a big challenge for him. And you got the crowd on your side. I'm sure Kirby Smart. I can guarantee you that Monday press conference, he's going to tell his fans, we need you. You know what I mean? And
oh yeah,
they need you this week. They need you to be loud. They need that place to be crazy, because it does affect an offense like that is so much dependent on communication and how fast they can go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You got to have everybody involved in this one this week, Rusty. And gosh, I mean, what about some of these walking wounded? I mean, are we hearing anything? Anybody we're expecting?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I know this, and people ask me this all the time about Bloody Tuesday and being so physical. My gut feeling, they may not just absolutely maul each other this Tuesday. You know what I mean? You're into mid-November. And you're not going to get every week off, but this might be one of those weeks where instead of 20 periods of absolutely killing each other, it might be 10 periods. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just get our physicality in and get those reps, with that. So, it's one of those years, man. If Georgia's going to have one of these, they picked the right one, because everybody's got losses. Everybody's got multiple losses. It seems like I said it 3 weeks ago. There's no LSU 2019. There's no Alabama 2020. And there's no Georgia 2022 team out there. There's not. Now, there's some really good teams. But Georgia's picked a year that obviously they're going to be down a little bit, it seems like. And see how far this team can go. It starts Saturday. If they can win this game Saturday, you kind of reshuffle your goals and see where this can go. Now, this Georgia Tech game, that's another whole conversation we're going to have in a couple of weeks.
Haynes King is ready to throw his body
dude,
on the line.
Haynes King will run the ball like freaking Eric Dickerson 1983. That dude ran 21 times yesterday. I don't know that he throws the ball 5 yards, but he is going to absolutely give every ounce of his body.
He will take a shellacking for you.
You know what's crazy? This is not Georgia Tech. Haynes King and what he's doing is unbelievable. That you can't hold up an SEC like that.
No,
like,
sure.
You could not hold up. But and look, Haynes King missed 3 games, 2.5 games for being injured. But that is one tough son of a gun, man. And then Georgia will have their hands full with him in 2 weeks, and they got to bye, to get some rest. So we'll see with him. But that's another whole different conversation. But Georgia, this is huge, man. This is such a big game coming up right here. And for a million reasons. I know 1,000 Tennessee fans living in Northwest Georgia.
Oh, buddy.
I know a lot of people that are close to that Tennessee program. This is the game they want. This is the one they are tired of losing to Georgia. They want this game as bad as any game. This is the one they want. It's been a while since they beat Georgia, and that was on a Hail Mary. Got lucky that day to beat Georgia. So they've had this one circled, man. There'll be a lot of Tennessee fans make this trip.
Make it quick. Early gut feeling.
I like Georgia. I you know what I mean? I don't ask me how. Don't ask me what the score is going to be. And it kind of got back to what you just said. Tennessee's really good on defense, but offensively, they're just not clicking. In fact, when I turned on last night and I saw that score of Mississippi State, I was like, what's going? Is Mississippi State pulling another one of these? And I go to our VolQuest board, that is the leader in that market, and dude, they are absolutely. I mean, they're coming unglued about their offense. What is going on? We're starting. It's like reading the Georgia board.
This admittedly could be a very ugly game.
It could be a muck. You can muck it up. That's what they call it. Let's just get in there and muck this thing up and just get they call it the pig pen, man. Just get in there and just roll around the mud and see what happens a little bit.
Yep.
Could be because both defenses, you would think, have a pretty good idea of what both teams are going to do. And it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a physical football game. That's for sure.
Yep. No question about it. Guys, look, we'll have you covered on all of it over at Dawgs HQ this week. We got Dawgs HQ
huge visit list. Huge.
Oh, yeah, the recruiting we haven't even touched on. We got a big QB target. I did a piece on that tonight. You can go over and check it out. Kind of just a preview for the week, because you're going to hear the name of Jaron Kiwa Sagapolatele.
Did you get it? That's it.
I've been working on it. Because I knew we'd have to say it a lot this week. Go over, check out that preview, but it's going to be a absolute loaded one. Georgia has been waiting to come home, and they are going to be bringing the stars out with this one. So get over to Dawgs HQ. We'll have you covered on all things recruiting, all things team, and we will do it all week long, just like we always do. We'll be back with Dawgs HQ Plus later this week. We'll try to work a Bark After Dark in. It's been crazy these last couple of weeks. We haven't really had a lot of time to breathe, let alone work in a fun show. But hopefully we can here. So there's a lot to get to this week, guys. Get over to Dawgs HQ. Come hang out with us. We appreciate you tuning in to the Georgia Show this Sunday night. We'll be back again with you next Sunday as well. This has been the Georgia Show from Dawgs HQ.